Are you still there?
Hi. Welcome to the Bill and Jason Show. I'm Bill Hermann, that's Jason Jones, and this is Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson Weddings. He lives here in the Minnesota area. He's a good friend of ours, and he's joining us on this special edition of the Bill and Jason Show, probably because it's going to be like a 2 or 3 parter.
Yeah, live via Skype.
Live via Skype.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is
the new 3D version of Skype.
Right.
It's a really expensive
Very,
version of the
very
app.
nice.
It's like really, really great.
watch me put my hand through them. Whoa.
Right. But you need a lot of bandwidth, if you know what I'm saying.
You know, I don't know.
So.
I'm the one who always does that, really?
Okay, I didn't get that.
So how have you been feeling anyway? How have you been doing?
How have you been feeling?
You look,
just a little tired, a little bloated. Yeah, I think some heartburn.
Huh.
I gotta really, I gotta work my, when you reach a certain age, you spend time talking about your maladies.
Certain age? You're like 10 years younger than me.
Well, think about this. Like, when you're in your 20s, you don't talk about, like, what, if you're like, oh, I'm sick. It's like, oh, bummer, you're sick. And then you're, like, back to normal, like, from a cold or whatever. And then it's like, you don't talk about, like, aches or pains or whatever.
Right.
But pretty soon, like, you reach this age.
Sorry.
Hey!
Time to get on the horse.
Woo! Let's see who's on the phone.
There's some
It's an alarm.
words.
You're supposed to be here on time. I don't know how to turn your phone off.
Dismiss.
Well, that's
This is
alarming.
really nice.
So what are you alarming?
What,
It said to
you
call
gotta
Kirk.
be someplace?
I mean, I don't.
You have to call Kirk?
Yeah, that's what
We're
it
talking,
said.
that's Kirk
Do you know
Holston.
why?
I don't actually. So
Kirk
Should we
we'll
call
just,
him?
We'll just. I'm guessing that was for last week, and I forgot to turn that off.
Do you have reminders for last week?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So just bloated and hungry and tired. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's pretty good, though,
You
'cause
find
my-
yourself talking about, like, you talk about these things way more. Like, they're like
That's
a predictable conversation.
That's true. Yeah,
So what are you suffering
like,
with?
like my knees and my ankles and my back and those things that I never thought about until I had a chiropractor and a wife and 2 kids and I'm really old.
This is where gray hair comes from.
This is really?
Yeah, either
Worrying
children or
about
being
your
the president
maladies?
of the United States. One
So
of the two.
so I got bad knees and a bad back, and you're bloated, and you're too young to worry about any of this stuff.
Well, actually, I've got cancer.
Yeah, we're kidding.
What?
What? Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're how old are you again?
43.
Like, too young.
40, way too
Well, that's what all
I
the
don't-
nurses and
yeah.
doctors tell me.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, you're too young for this. Come back and see us later. There must be something wrong with this. It's the test.
So now
Yeah.
we knew this before we sat down, and one of the things we wanted to do, the reason we wanted to talk about it was one of the subjects that we as entrepreneurs, as people, as men and women getting older, we deal with stuff all the time. And here you are with a successful business. You got a beautiful wife. You got kids. You've got a kid going to be graduating high school. So I think you got married like you were like 18,
Yeah,
17,
easily.
16.
A couple more years.
Something like that.
4 years like that.
Yeah.
So at 43,
Yeah.
you found out about this. Now, how in fact did you find out?
Easter morning. Woke up before the family was making breakfast. Grabbed some water, went to take a drink, couldn't swallow. And ended up spitting all the water back out.
Wow.
And went into a huge coughing fit, sounding like a barking dog and a very old man. Heather came running out to the kitchen, obviously worried. She'd never heard that before.
Right.
And she asked if I was okay. I tried to talk. Nothing came out.
Wow.
You couldn't even talk?
I could not talk.
Boy,
So
that's
what,
scary,
you didn't think
especially
it
in
was
our
much
business.
more than
Well,
just that you swallowed wrong.
Right, and that's exactly what it was. It was, okay, swallowed wrong, the violent cough caused, a little bit of irritation to the vocal cords,
Right.
and, so that day, it voice was there a little bit, could whisper, but, the cough just sounded awful. And if I laughed, the laugh was just so weird. And that actually went on for about a week, and it started to get a little bit better, incrementally.
So you thought you just strained a vocal cord?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at that point it was that. Didn't think too much of it. I think I talked to you. We talked a little bit about some remedies, the gargling and some of the other things that I could do.
Right.
Second week, it got a little bit better, but then it leveled off. And at that point, it was like, okay. something's not right.
Yeah.
Right. I remember you talking
kinda
about
like
it
that.
again. I'm like, you have work. I mean, your voice is your job.
Right.
Right. Especially
Find a
like,
doctor and tell him to give me an antibiotic. Do something here.
Yeah, I mean, because a big part of the role that you do is in storytelling and hosting and emceeing and things like that. So it's not like, oh, I can just show up and mix, you know.
Right. Yeah, well, that was the real scary part. I mean, thankfully, I didn't have anything scheduled within those couple of weeks. And so what ended up happening is I went to the regular doctor. I can't do anything for you. Let me send you to an ENT, ear, nose, throat specialist.
Right.
Got in there. So that's the third week when I got to see her put the thing down the nose to the back of the throat. And she was a little confused because I had a paralyzed vocal cord is what happened.
So one of your vocal cords just stopped functioning?
Yes, my right vocal cord was opened or closed, however you want to put it, about at a 45-degree angle. And it just was not moving.
Right.
And
And I even remember that phone call. That was scary.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
again, you make your living with your voice.
Right. It's like, now
And
what?
one of my vocal cords is messed up.
Yeah.
And you didn't sound terrible, but it did, you had a weird sound to your voice, like you always had like you had a cold.
Yes,
really.
cold, hoarse, nasally.
Yeah.
I suppose you're asking yourself, like, will people hire a Stephen Hawkins voice? You know? Good evening, welcome everybody.
Well, and that was the worst of it because
Yeah, right.
The writing room is awesome.
Right.
the range,
Someone's gonna be really mad at this video.
my range wasn't there.
Right.
I didn't have an inflection.
Yeah.
Couldn't
and
hit the
that
high C.
really,
Yeah.
high C. Yeah, that really began to frighten me.
Right. I
Because I had
remember
to
that.
stay at a
Right, you had to
monotone.
which is really hard to do. I
Yeah.
mean, from my own experience, I lost my voice for an event, and I had a tiny narrow range, and like try to get excited and stay in that range.
Right. Yeah.
Great,
Not
everybody.
happening.
Here we go. I'm really excited. even
And
though
this
you
is
can't
we're
tell.
still like 4 weeks in, right?
The fourth week is when things kind of got moving. So it was at the ENT was, as I said, was very confused with the paralyzed vocal cord because I didn't have any trauma to the neck or anything like that to tell her this is what caused it.
Right.
And so she ordered a CT scan to rule out a mass, and that right off the bat started freaking me out because I guess your vocal cord nerve runs from your stem into your chest and back up.
Oh, interesting. Didn't know that.
And so she wanted to rule that out. So I'm like, well, fine, that ain't gonna be it.
So the
right?
doctor's
Right.
gonna-
Yeah. So the CT scan had that on a Monday, and by that Thursday, so that was April 20th, got the call, and you have a mass in your chest.
Wow.
Wow.
What was your reaction?
A little bit of disbelief, a little bit of I had to sit down and kind of take it in, and it's like, wow, this is really happening. And that was the moment where, wow, this is supposed to happen to somebody else,
Right.
right?
Yeah, right. It's somebody else's story. Like
Right.
it's not going to be your story.
We've
it's
heard
always,
stories like this
it's
before,
always,
but why would
yeah,
we be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was. I guess what I did is I took it in, processed it, and really, gosh, just from a lot of the help from you two and some of my coaches and some of the other people I talked to, it was really, okay, well, that's what it is. What's next?
Yeah.
I was almost immediately able to say, okay, let's find out what it is. Let's see what we're dealing with, and plan of action.
Right. Well, and dealing with not only what you're dealing with, but you also have to deal with what's happening with your family.
Yeah.
Pardon my mic.
So, wow. Yes, pardon our mic here. Did that just kind of sneak into the shot?
It sure did.
It
That was really
It was
weird.
getting a little
It sure
closer.
did.
I wanted to hear a little bit better.
This is that's called leaning in. It's a special stand that, like, as the story gets better, the stand leans in. These are patented, pending.
Right.
It's really secret, so don't tell anybody. We're gonna release them soon.
Okay, so we're at telling your family.
Yeah. Call Heather. I was out
Oh, that's right.
on doing some.
You were driving that day. when you
Yeah, I
found
was
out.
doing some work. So I ended up calling her right away, and those next weeks, week and a half or two, that was touch and go. I mean, there's moments of, being where it was. The chest or the mass is rather large.
Yeah.
And that really surprised me because other than the paralyzed vocal cord, I had no symptoms. No shortness of breath, no anything else.
Well, and you eat really well. I mean,
that's
working with a health coach running, like you're like skinny, enviably skinny,
right.
And you know what I mean, and good looking, and you've got all these things going for you.
Right. Honestly, I mean, you.
I'm not manly enough to say that another man is good looking when he's good looking.
He really is. I mean, come on.
I mean, not my type or anything, but
we fought about who was going to sit next to you. That's why we put you in the
right. Exactly.
I mean,
come on. So it would have been a fight otherwise.
And
there's enough to go around for us.
Right? we needed some eye candy for the show.
Damn,
I mean, this
one of the
topic is a
complaints
good
we've been
idea to
getting.
get on the show. Like, I'm tired of looking at our ugly mugs.
Yeah, can you please put some makeup on him? And,
I want to reflect back, because we're talking about the reaction to this,
right?
And even when we did our little joke in the beginning of the show where it was like, oh my gosh, we kind of moved away, right? Mm-hmm. There's and even though we were playing around, I in that moment I kind of felt afraid for you. I still felt that kind of that sense of kind of fear. I mean, that was my experience. I'm not projecting that that was yours, but it's something that it's there. It's really common. It happens to lots of people. I mean, it's so normal now that somebody it touches, somebody in each of our lives is either dealing with or has dealt with this. And then when it hits home and you see your own mortality, did you, I mean, in terms of in the moment, I know you said that you talked to people and you kind of had some assurances and things like that, but what were you confronted by?
I know exactly where you're going because this has given me, honestly, I'm going to call it a gift. 43, 40, you start thinking, okay, we're getting up there in age, but still, that elderly stage is still so far away. So the gift for me is really, as much as, we talk about being in the present moment. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that present moment is so much bigger right now. In my mind, you're going through all the different scenarios. What could happen? What could this be? Could this be serious? Could this be hey, you have a couple months to live? Mm-hmm. With that thought in your mind, what are you doing?
Yeah, at the point where they said you have this, it wasn't clear have what,
right,
and what stage. Remember, you're talking about I don't even know what stage I'm at. Which the stage can be you're either on death's doorstep or you're somewhere where we're gonna be uphill. Somewhere in between there you're at, right? And it's oh my gosh, what does this all mean, right?
So I mean, even just this morning, I got up before anybody else got up, and I took about a 30-minute walk, and just breathing the air and listening to the birds and just. Seeing everything, it's just wow. Now I'm saying it, it's so cliche to say it. Okay, I'm on this side now, but if there's anything I could say to get somebody to feel, we're all got a one-way ticket, right? Mm-hmm. We all have that sentence,
right?
Yep.
But when you're confronted with it and the possibility of it being sooner than you ever
sooner
anticipated,
than later, right? Than some indeterminate time in the future to not worry about.
Right. It's like I said, it's a gift. So now with my prognosis of being 70% cure rate, I'm even overjoyed with that to say, okay, so here's my story, here's my scare. Get over that, and now still stay in that.
That
and
what do I got to do?
Yeah.
Right.
What do I got to do?
Every day. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny, because we go to cliche. It's it's cliche to suddenly be aware of the now is cliche, which is sad that that's even cliche, or even to kind of have the recognize in a real way, every day being a gift, which we could oh, that's cliche to joke about, right? But when you start experiencing, wow, I have this day. What am I going to do? And start living as though this could be your only day, and that's how we all live, even without having any kind of thing. It could be tomorrow we could get hit by a truck, or we could have a good friend of mine, age 29, had a massive heart attack on the way home. Had a congenital a problem with his heart that was congenital, and it had blocked up an artery, and just like that. It was over, right? So literally, like, we all live in like day to day, but we don't.
Right.
We go on pretending like, oh, we're in our heads and our problems and, all that sort of thing, as if like we have this indeterminate amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's not the way we walk. We don't walk through life though thinking, that you're right. We don't think about the fact that it could be tomorrow. We still act like we're teenagers, and we're never going to die. We walk through life not thinking about it at all. So
Well, you act like you're a teenager.
True, but well, and how did this start to affect not only your family had to deal with this, and you had to deal with how they've dealt with it, but then you opened up to, oh my gosh, I've got clients.
Yeah.
And you got a business, right?
What was that? What was going through your mind with that?
So, as of this taping, what we're doing right now, because
we're not taping. This is live.
This is live. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. That's right. The Skype Live 3D thing. Okay.
That's right. Recorded live.
Rewind.
Go with it. Just go with it.
All right. So right now, I've made the choice not to talk to my couples yet because there's still one more piece of information I need to find out.
Well, fortunately, they don't watch this podcast.
Right. And that is what stage I'm at.
Right.
And
which one?
What stage I'm at.
Which stage?
Stage.
Who's on first? What's on
third
second?
base?
Which stage?
But you're finding out soon.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know which stage?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
yet.
I thought you said which stage.
No.
This is what got me confused. Next week we'll talk about listening.
Actually, tomorrow I should find out.
Okay.
Stage 3 or stage 4.
Okay.
And that's the difference. It's a 5% difference, a 70 to 75% cure rate.
Okay.
So, with Heather has a Karen Bridge site ready to be launched once we have that final piece.
If you'd like to, we can put that link when it's ready into the
That'd be cool.
down at the YouTube links if you'd like.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
okay?
I'm all for that because
Okay, cool.
we'll have the story.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that watch this show that know you.
Sure.
And not everybody likes you, and we all know that. But those are the people that do. Yeah, help me like you need help. So you're working on Heather's working on the Caring Bridge site.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep people updated.
And so it's either going to be tonight or tomorrow. We're going to call the couples, especially the ones coming up here. The great thing is my voice is back.
Yeah, I noticed
Yeah,
that.
I heard that.
So other than if you get me to laugh, my laugh still has a little bit of the weirdness to it. But my voice, I've done a couple events now where I've had full range of motion and had no issues. So I mean, for me, I attribute that to my diet. I attribute that to the book that you've given me, the Radical Remission, an amazing book. But it talks, the first chapter is all about the food, and from word go, cut out all sugars, cut out all dairy, cut out most meats, grains, and it's high vegetables, fruits, protein mixes, and things like that. And I honestly feel that that's helped shrink the unhealthy cells enough to pull it away from the nerve.
Right. Well, and the weird part too was, you're already a pretty thin guy, and within a week and a half, you lost 20 pounds.
Yeah,
just with the diet you put on.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Which will be available at mikesdiet.com for anyone who wants to drop 20 pounds in 2 weeks.
Yeah, just get a mass in your chest.
And still be healthy.
He'll tell you how to do that.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
Yeah. So you started this diet. You lost 20 pounds, which weird anyway.
Of course. Then you look at the height and weight chart. I'm actually still a little over from where I'm
so
supposed
am
to
I.
be. So it's just
Yeah, me too.
bizarre
I don't
there.
know why.
You look a little
real
over. That's
big
what I was
surprising.
thinking.
I know,
No,
really
yeah,
chubby,
the little
man.
blonde
Mike looks a
Yeah.
Do
little
a sit
over.
up for God's sakes. What the hell?
Is there something over your belt a little bit there?
But
I have a belt? Sorry.
It's okay. You got to get used to looking good around other people.
Yeah, you really do. It's
so
a
I mean,
burden.
again, a gift, right?
Right.
I mean, that's how I look at it. It's like, I like you had talked about. I had a health coach about 2.5 years ago. A whole family thing. We did a whole cleanse with the family, and at that point, I lost 30 pounds. And then I've put 20 back on. Now I'm back down to what it was after that, and so just you feel really good when you do that.
Did you have part of the conversation of I've been taking so good care of my body and my life. I eat
like a
well.
betrayal.
I exercise. What the hell?
You know,
Did you have any of that?
I actually looked, again, in the book, The Radical Remission, it talks about how, there's a lot of stories in there of radical remissions from other people in their stories. And one gentleman really looked internally to see what he did to his body to turn against, not turn against him, but how it became a little unhealthy.
Okay.
And it was his lifestyle. And I look back and, I've always been kind of a go with the flow guy. I really haven't had, in my view, a lot of stress on my life. So I've just given it to, you know what? I don't know what caused it. I'm not going to put anything on it. It's just, it's just there. I'm dealing with it, and
Right. Well, and
put a start.
Not everything. I mean, occasionally by stuffing resentments, or that can cause those, by stuffing emotions, stuffing all that kind of can cause physical maladies.
Right.
It can cause inflammation, to cause things, right? But that's not always what causes. What the cause is for you, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, that's one of the possibilities.
Yeah. So the doctors, family history, no family. What? So they're a little confused as well, and I just throw it out there as well. It happens. I'm not going to worry too much about why.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, at this point, like, what would why do for you?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So what were some of the initial concerns about talking to your clients about this? What was that for you?
That's where I'm at now is a lot different from where I was.
Well, let's start
few weeks
from where
ago.
you were
Yeah,
a
a few
couple
weeks
weeks
ago, it was, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do these. If I don't have a range of motion or a range of emotion, how am I going to tell a love story? How am I going to convey the day to the guests and really bring them into the moment? That was frightening, very frightening. So then it was, okay, who do I have in my stable of friends that can help me out?
Was that because of your voice, or because of like your mindset? What was that?
At that point, it was a little bit of both. It was the mindset and it was the voice. The voice really contributed to that, and it really centered around, I can't give what I normally give. So if I can't give that...
And they're paying for that.
Right. I don't want to even try to fumble through it.
Yeah.
It's too important of a day, too important of a moment to give a subpar performance.
Sure.
So that was frightening. So then it was, who can I call? Who can I get in a backup role to be there to step in and help me out in that realm. So thankfully, honestly, it didn't come to that. Talking with you.
Well, after you got through my people. I mean, you got to get through my people.
Yeah. That's right. You got to call.
And then that person
Is Mr.
calls
Herman
in.
available?
Exactly.
And
And
these
I'm
aren't
never
nice
available.
pitches.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you got to me.
Yeah. Yes, I finally broke through the barriers.
The barriers
Yeah,
of entry. Yeah. Okay.
But and honestly, with just your perspective of how it's not exactly how I sound. It's
Right.
what I do bring to the event.
Yeah.
My way of being.
Your being.
Yeah.
How am I being for them, and how am I conveying that? And
Because honestly, you don't have a very good voice.
no.
I've told you that.
Yeah.
So,
So you have to find a way to compensate.
Really, you have to
somehow.
compensate somehow. So you better be nice. Look, your clients. The reason people hire you, I think the reason anybody gets hired to do any of this stuff has little to do with if they're a good mixer, if they have a good voice, if they read a
Speak
good
smoothly.
story, if they speak smoothly. It really is. We like you, and we trust that what you're going to do for us is going to be. It matters to you as much as it matters to us, and then you're going to do everything you can to make sure that we get everything that's in our head about how awesome this is going to be. You do it with a frog's voice. I'm serious. You could do it with the, how are you today?
Yeah.
It's
in that
Hawking.
commitment.
Hawking could do it. It's really about the commitment and what you care about and who you're being for the day.
And so with that information, I did do a wedding. The voice had inflection. It as long as I was in the present moment, and oh man, it's so powerful, because when you have something like that that's so present, and the one way around it for me was to breathe properly, and that's something I've been working on for years. So slowing down. Oh, what a gift that is, to slow down an event and really just be there.
not be thinking about what's next or what just happened, but just like in that moment.
Yeah. So taking that on and letting the client know. I certainly called them ahead of time and told them this is what's happening.
Right.
I'm going to give you everything I've got, and everything's going to be wonderful.
Were you surprised by the reaction?
No, it was a little trepidation at first.
Well, what was their first reaction?
It was a little hesitation, but okay. We trust you.
Yeah.
We've seen you before. We know what you can do. You've got this.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah. So
all by itself.
For the event, the wedding to go off, the way it did, it was quite heartwarming to make it through and to be able to give the emotion, to get, that first time you open the microphone and hush.
Yeah, and they give you your listening. They give you their listening.
And say, okay.
Do you think maybe you always got that listening, but because of that event, you started to pay attention?
You actually noticed
to notice?
Yes and no.
Nodding your head and getting present.
Yeah, a great lesson. Really, it truly was. They're all life moments, right?
Yeah.
It's all learning moments, and so to be able to get an applause after the opening welcome, to reaffirm that they understood me.
Yes, right.
Right? They didn't know what my voice sounded like before.
Right.
And they were enrolled in what we were doing.
Yeah, right. They were moved by your commitment.
So right off, that was a great springboard to the rest of the night, and it went wonderful.
Awesome.
It went really well.
That's so great.
So beyond that, now you're after that is, and you knew what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Something. I want to let's talk more about this. In fact, this is too long of a conversation for us to only have one show.
Right.
So let's make this at least into a two-parter.
Mike will be on for the rest of the year.
Right, exactly.
And then we don't have to show prep.
And we'll bring. Well, I think what we'd like to do is bring you back between your treatments.
Yeah.
And see how things are going and see how things are happening, because we all are faced with, I got a broken leg, or I broke my arm and I can't mix, or you're dealing with much bigger idea here, but it's all just as scary within our business. So if you do that, we'd like to have you back.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd be happy to.
Great. If you have ideas about this, or you want to talk to Mike, Mike's not tough to find. It's MikeAndersonWeddings.com. You can also put your comments down at the bottom of the YouTube page. Reach out here. There's the Caring Bridge a link, which keeps people updated about how things are going with his cancer.
Yeah, we'll be posting
happening
that
as well.
We'll be putting that on the Bill and Jason
Right, but we
show
want to know
page.
what you think, and if you want to send messages, we'll be sure you get these as well, and we'll keep you updated on this story. This is an extraordinary story that speaks to all of us and touches us all. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on the Bill and Jason Show.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.